Thanks very much.
Okay,
Cheers.
thank you.
Okay, let's go to item 12. ChristchurchNZ are here. Hey, Lauren and Linda and Ellie and Laura and Lauren. We've got the whole team.
I'm just going to introduce it. Yeah. I'm just going to introduce it. Ready to go? Yep. So this is the CNZ draft SOI. As with the other presentation, I'm just going to run through a few points and ask for questions. There was a workshop prior to the draft SOI. It has been prepared in the context of a Section 17A LGA review that is ongoing or is being progressed. That has created some uncertainty. The proposed council comments and the recommendations are matters of clarification. We're asking for clarification in the SOI for the benefit of stakeholders that we're not raising omissions in delivery. If I take it as read, and if there's any questions, Ali and Lauren are here to address them.
Thank you. Welcome. Celeste.
First of all, welcome. Good to see you. I had a number of questions, just trying to think of where to start. But I think the first question I had was, I understand there was a letter sent from the board to the mayor. I requested that yesterday at the informal, and I've also sent it through to Sam and Phil. When do we likely to get a copy of that?
Is that the email that just came through?
Oh, it was sent this morning.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I haven't responded to it yet, but the organisation will. I haven't seen the letter.
Sent the letter, but it was sent to the mayor. So are we able to get any clarification on that prior to signing off on the statement of intent? It would seem that would be quite pertinent to the discussion today.
Draft, so,
Through you, Mr. Chair, what we're doing here, look, I can follow up on the letter, but what we're doing here is passing comments on the draft statement of intent for CNZ to consider before it's finalised at the end of June. So I can come back to you on that, Councillor.
Yeah, so this isn't finalising it today.
Yeah, it'd be good if we could get that circulated, because I think it's been requested a few times now and we haven't received it, so that's a little bit concerning.
Well, can we, Mary, is that something you could pick up, just how many times it's been requested and the reason why it hasn't been released? And then come back to us, because that's, they're not helpful comments if they are not coming through the system properly. Yeah.
I think they did come through the system. The next question is for ChristchurchNZ. So I'm just trying to understand some of the current constraints in delivering the pipeline of urban regeneration work. Have you been given direction from council and a clear understanding of expectations in this space?
That's the nature of the letter that you're referring to, which was sent to the Mayor on the 28th of January. It's in relation to the urban development work. It's our view that that's not something we would be keen to discuss in a public session. We are waiting for direction from the shareholder in terms of urban development, but we are in this session responding to the LOA as it was written.
Right. Okay. So that's helpful. I appreciate that. So my understanding then is we would need that letter in order to then understand completely where that program sits. So it would be helpful to get a copy of that. And just focusing on an area dear to my heart. ChristchurchNZ is there's a number of areas that the city's identified as a priority for urban regeneration. Linwood's one of them, New Brighton, Sydenham, other key areas. I know that ChristchurchNZ has been doing fantastic work in New Brighton, and I'd really like to see that work continue in other areas, taking on those lessons we've learned in lift and shift to perhaps somewhere like Sydenham or Linwood. Do you feel like you're in a position to do that? I'm aware that the team itself has dropped it's gone to less than half. So do you feel like there's constraints in terms of resourcing? Because I'm concerned that maybe a lack of direction from council, if that's what is happening, is leading to a hold up in the delivery of some really critical work that aligns with our long-term plan. And as the councillor for the eastern suburbs, I'd hate to think that there's any constraints on delivering that work.
I think there have definitely been some uncertainties, which is always difficult to we all know from the world that we're currently in, uncertainty makes things challenging. I think the work that we've done in New Brighton is something we're really proud of. I think it's been a really, really great case study, and we're in the process of writing that up as a case study to be exactly what you've talked about, which is a lift and shift. It's also fair to say that our intervention in New Brighton is probably coming towards an end, because now we've got a private sector developer that has come in to take them all, and actually we've got that really exciting stuff happening in the Village Green. Our intervention is less useful there and could be better used elsewhere. So we look forward to getting that clarity so that we can move forward.
Just flagging, I put through an amendment to get some further clarity on that, so I've sent it through to David.
That makes sense. We'll just add it into the main. Yep. Did you want to add something, Mark? Or
Yes, thank you. Just to add to what staff have conveyed in response to Councillor Donovan, staff will engage with ChristchurchNZ's urban development team further. We have an existing relationship and have met regularly with the General Manager for Urban Development, the current one who's acting, and we'll work collaboratively to develop a work program subject to the outcome of the Section 17A review.
Thank you, and I assume as part of that, because we've just approved a derelict buildings program trial in New Brighton that is in partnership with ChristchurchNZ, that'll be taken into consideration. Thank you.
One thing I do think it is probably just worth mentioning, it's kind of slightly linked to this, is we are obviously in the current statement of intent, we don't have our proposed KPI numbers in there. We're looking really hard at that, and we're trying to be really ambitious with it. We're going to push very hard to make sure that we can accentuate and enhance the dollars that we get from council for core funding. I was just talking to Mayor Phil this morning about one way that we're doing that. We've got several ways of kind of getting in that money. The Screen Office is another really good one, where you gave us 100,000 this year and we managed to get that to 430, which enabled us to attract 4 productions instead of 1. So we're going to push our KPIs quite hard. On urban development, uncertainty does cause timing delays, and so there is likely to be a lull in KPIs from urban development that could be significant as a result of the uncertainty. It'll take a while to build that back up again, so I just think it's good that you're aware of that.
Tyrone and
Mr.
Yanni.
Chair. Hello, nice to see you. So just in the letter of expectations got a very specific paragraph about Banks Peninsula as the destination within a destination and reporting on that separately. I'm not getting a sense from the statement of intent how that's going to be delivered, or it's not even really referred to at all. And actually, sorry, just a minor point, it refers to destination plans rather than destination management plans, which I'm sure is just an oversight. But just sort of talk to me a little bit about how that's kind of going to manifest in the SOI.
I'm going to ask Lauren to come and answer that, because I know that she's actually been doing quite a lot of work in this space already. So.
Practice my squat. I could stand. You're about 6 foot tall. So both of the destination management plans have implementation plans that come out of them, and they're iterative. We do them every year based on need and how we've progressed. We're just developing the implementation plan for Banks Peninsula for next financial year at the moment. We're doing that in partnership with Akaroa District Promotions and also the Banks Peninsula Community Board, and we'll be able to feed back on the progress on that as soon as we develop it. Yeah.
Does that, I mean, sorry, just to be finicky about it, but does that sort of get articulated in the SOI, or is it
it's a level of operational detail that we wouldn't put in the SOI, but we can label the destination management plans more clearly within the SOI as forming part of our action.
Just because it's just that flow on from one to the other. Anyway,
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, cheers. Thank you.
And then Yanni.
Thank you. Is it true that ChristchurchNZ supported an event that's believed to have produced the largest visitor spend of any Christchurch event since the 1974 Commonwealth Games?
It is true. Lauren, do you want to talk? I know you've been talking on the radio this morning about it. So.
I think saying anything, be it the Commonwealth Games in 1974, might be inflationary rather than anything else. But certainly since we have been measuring the impact of major events, it is the single largest economic impact that we have ever had. And we have just been discussing what the baseline was compared to the intervention that Christchurch NZ made to get it to that level. So our investment and our work with Electric Ave was to support them in moving to a 2-day festival and in underwriting their international headline acts. So it shifted it from being a domestic event to a 2-day festival that is really on the international map. And so that's the kind of positive business development work that we do with those types of events. And moving into the next year, we're actually going to be supporting Electric Ave on their commercial proposition and building in more private sector partnership to be able to reduce local government support.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to get a sense of, from reading through, that there's some work that you've done around the creative industries, and some work that you've been doing around gaming and screen. And is it, I think I read somewhere there's a report that's going to come back to us with recommendations and then a funding consideration as well. So, I was keen not to lose track of the good work that's being done in that space initially, but also to understand looking forward what we can do as a city to support screen and support creative industries like local music. So I'm just trying to understand whether we need something in here or not, given that there's other work streams that may be picking that up.
So we, as an agency, act on an intervention basis. So we're always looking for a market opportunity or a market failure that isn't going to be filled by other people. That's when council should intervene, because that's where you can really make the biggest difference. We did a report on the creative industries in Christchurch, which we came and presented at a workshop to council last year alongside Kiri and the team here. We continue to support Toi Otatahi, and we will continue to support that. We don't support it financially, but we support it in other ways. There was not a lot of market failure or opportunity identified from our perspective, from an economic Christchurch NZ perspective in that creative industry report, apart from that interaction between gaming and the digital industries. We are in the process of finalising our screen digital strategy. There are questions about whether that's the best use of intervention when we're limited with resource. So we make decisions on where we spend our money based on return on investment and other criteria. Sometimes you will direct us to do things that might fall outside that. So that is your prerogative as the shareholder. So what we'll do is we'll come with some options and let you know. And you can tell us whether or not screen is one that you want to continue to really go for.
Okay, sorry.
Becomes questions of, do you want to support the aerospace industry and the health tech industry or the creative industry? We can't do them all.
Sure, understood. Sorry, I probably just kind of misread the on page 249 of our agenda. So the economic inequality report, that's the one that's going to be coming back with some recommendations around what we could do. The screen and the gaming stuff is kind of, from your point of view, that work has been complete, and it's a matter for council to pick up and look at what if we want to do more.
So it's also really, we need to think about it as an ecosystem. So the work we're getting involved in and that we're really excited about, we can all see this global mega trend of the convergence of gaming, film, and the creative tech. So we're partnering with UC and Koawa, and we're really trying to think hard, what is the strategy for the region? So we want to come with a really, not just a short-term, but a short, medium, and long-term view of the creative sector. And once we've got clear positions on that, and we can define roles and strategies and plans, and that's when we'll bring you on that journey with us.
Oh, great. So we wouldn't need to put anything in here because you do have some work happening in that space.
Yeah, in the screen and creative arts area. In the inequality space, it's more challenging. So the report we did on inequality identified definitely things that can be done, but most of them fall outside Christchurch NZ's remit. So we're working with council staff at the moment to understand the appetite for more broadly leaning into that, because a lot of it falls outside what we would do.
Can I just, the final question from me is around, I'm so impressed with what's been happening in terms of housing in New Brighton, and it strikes me as an area that is actually probably a really good example of what we can do when we work together
to achieve something that will address inequity and inequality. But in our economic ambition, there's no real mention of housing. But given that you've had a sort of peripheral role in that New Brighton space, I'm wondering if there's anything that we can learn from that, given if we wanted to look at doing more direct market intervention into housing provision rather than just having community housing provided separately. Is there any work going on that in that housing space where you might have a role, or is that something we'd need to direct you to?
I think whilst we have the ongoing uncertainty around urban development, it's difficult to know what our role is in that space. I think more broadly, is housing part of the economic ambition, which we have to remember is not a ChristchurchNZ economic ambition, it's a Christchurch ambition. It absolutely falls into it. When we talk to Mana Whenua about what the economic ambition means to them, it very quickly turns to discussions about lack of shoes and school lunches and housing, because they're just intrinsically linked. So you can't just tightly draw a boundary around economic activity and say that the other things are not there. And the economic ambition talks very much about being socially just and economically inclusive. That's a very important part of it. So more broadly, should the ambition look at it? Yes. Is that something that we know our role in it at the moment? I think that's less clear.
We could ask as part of feedback around that.
We would love to see the ambition, and one of our the key things for our statement of intent this year is that we're increasing the resource that we put behind the ambition to make sure that we can really embed it and get momentum going more broadly than what we've got so far. We've got really good start, but we want to see it deeply embedded in the work that Council does across all parts of your programme. Yeah.
One for me. We're still joined up. I know we've talked about when we're doing good news that the ratepayers paying for, that's still being joined up in terms of...
I don't know if Joss is here, but I think we're doing it better than we've ever done. I hope. It's not always perfect, but we're trying. Sorry, I missed that.
I just said when we're doing good news, we're still doing joined up approaches because we're... Yeah, because we're paying for...
Yeah, so absolutely, and we make sure that we tag Christchurch City Council and do all we can to make sure that we do it in this up as way, so that ratepayers understand that events and the work that Christchurch NZ does comes directly from their
from
rates.
them. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
It's very important.
Okay, so are you wanting to move it, Yanni?
Oh, just one really quick question. Do we need to flag work on a city deal, or I'm just completely confused what's happening in that
I'll ask Martin to answer that because he's doing a lot of work on that.
Okay.
So there's a decision made at the Canterbury Mayoral Forum to think about that at a provincial level, so the Canterbury Mayors as one region, and work is underway to scope up what that can be. And so there's active conversations happening, and there will be through the Mayoral Forum, that'll be the vehicle for any activation and delivery. So yeah, there's good stuff in there.
Trying to understand if you guys have done any work as our agency around what a city deal
we have.
might.
We actually, so we started with the Christchurch City Council piece of lead work with Greater Christchurch Partners. This was prior to the election. So there's a lot of pre-work being done on that space.
So, I mean, I don't know if anyone else feels concerned that the Mayoral Forum's now in charge of that city deal. I do. I think it's something we should discuss at a governance level before we enter into those sorts of arrangements. Also, if they're using our resource to do the deal, then I think there is a risk that
just clarify, it's not just our resource. We're just a contributor and a partner in providing. So yeah, that is getting scoped currently.
Right. I'm just really unclear about decision making around it.
I think maybe Mary, is that something you could take away? Cool. Yep. Great. Thanks, Martin. That's great. Cool. Okay, so I think we're there. That's been moved by Pauline, seconded by the Mayor. All in favour? Oh, sorry. Yes, you got. We've added into this standard, which is your work around the urban development. So it's just.
And report back to council. Sorry.
So that goes off to the...
It's got reports back to council at the. No, you're all good. You're all good. Have a look on there if you want.
Yeah.
Celeste.
Do you need some time frame? Okay. Probably.
Mark, we need time frame to come back.
And just in the interest of time, I was just wondering if we might be able just to add housing into that. Would that be okay?
Why don't we just open it up? No. Okay. What do you want added? If you've got an amendment, let's.
Just consideration of housing. I mean, I think it comes within that portfolio. It's just being a little bit explicit, but
The mayor's all over that. Don't worry. Okay. Let's.
Through.
Let's just. Can we just take 2 minutes just so that we can get clear on what we're putting up? Yeah. So just. Start it again. We've yep. So we've got Pauline. You happy to move it still?
Yes, I'm very happy.
The mayor's ecstatic to second it. So let's put that to a vote. All in favour? Against? That's carried. We have, because we've got people on. We've got 3 online too. Yep. Okay. That